Well, it's been ages since I put a video up, and I've been doing other things. I've got other videos, I just haven't put them on. But anyway, I thought I might have another crack. I have had an issue with my trumpet. About, I don't know, 25 years ago or more, I was playing actually at a concert, and this valve stem here broke. If you look closely, you can see that this is different material to that. And I had a friend in the audience who was lived close by and is a trumpeter, and so he raced home and loaned me his trumpet for the rest of the gig, or the concert, the show, whatever. Anyway, I went around to another friend's place. This is before I had any machine shop or whatever, and we machined up this replacement. And I played it without a cap on it, this cap here. I played it with just a stem for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or something. And everyone used to mock me, but it honestly didn't bother me. But, I don't know, 15 years ago or something, I was working in a machine shop at the university where I worked, or about to leave actually, but I had access to a lathe, and I made this cap. So it sort of looks okay. But as you can see, it's a couple of mil low, so I think it's about 3 mil actually, below these two. So I thought, eventually, now I've got a lathe, so I thought I'll get this bit of rod from, I bought it online, but I didn't actually measure it, it's 3/16, and when I actually measured it, these stems are 5.6, I think. So that's about a mil undersized. So I had a piece of brass that I had as an offcut from another job. That's 16 mil. But I felt machining out of that seemed a bit wasteful to me. Whoops. So as a parting, I went to the machine shop at the uni, and I've only got about a week left there, but I went and asked someone, and I got this. It's what, 1/2 inch. So I've got this 1/2 inch, and so I plan now to make a replacement for the upper section of this valve out of that. Now, this valve, this unscrews from, this valve, this unscrews. I'll see if I can keep it in the shot. And it all holds together. There's a spring and but there is just a it's just a threaded rod. There is a groove for a circlip here, and it's drilled and bored on the top to suit this cap. So there's the cap. It doesn't match the other two, but it's near enough. Well, here's my drawing. So it's beautiful and all, it's all I need. So let's go to the lathe and start working on it. Oh, there's one more dimension I haven't put in. On this end, I haven't put in the thread for the cap. I'll have a look at that and add that, but then I'm ready to go. So I've turned this down, and I want to put, if I can get it to focus. Why won't you focus? Anyway, I want to put a thread on there. Now, it's a metric thread, it's M5, but I want it to be very square. I don't want any tilt on it. So this is a 60-degree tip on here, and metric threads have got a 60-degree angle on them. This lathe doesn't have full gear selection like for screw cutting. So there's a chart on here. So this shows here, this is millimetre. I want to cut a 0.8 millimetre thread, which is here. So I need a 30 and a 45 change gear, and there is 3 gears, 40, 80 and 40 here. Then there is gear A, which is 30. Then there is a 127 tooth gear meshing with that, and then there's a 120 tooth gear here, and then that goes into gear B, which is the 45. This is the gear, so that's the 40 gear here, then there's an 80 here, and then there's a 40. Then this one here is 30, that there is 127, that's 120, and that's 45. So if we look, we got 40, 80 and 40. Then A, we can see on the 0.8 mil thread, A is 30 and B is 45. So then we have A, 30, that goes on to 127, then it goes 120 to B, which is 45. So here's our 40, 80, and then 40, then 30, 127, 120, and 45. And then we have to select on this, it's column 4. So we select 4 on here. So I've done a little test, and that does appear to be 0.8. So I'm doing this because I really don't want to have a let's see if I can get this to focus. Yeah, I really don't want this to have that rod threaded out of skew. So this is a 60-degree triangular tip, and that's you can see 60, 60, 60 for the 3, and metric threads have a 60-degree included angle, so I can cut a thread with that. So I'm doing it just by hand because I don't want to crash into anything. Put you back into the cradle on the top, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. Okay, so I've got this set up. I've got this compound slide set at 30 degrees. This is set up so that's, well, pretty well true. I'm going to put a die over this just to finish it off. And I've got this zeroed down here on that cut, and I'm just turning it by hand. So I'll put this to 0, and now I'm going to wind on the compound slide a little bit. So I'll put a cut on, just putting this to 0. Okay, so I'll wind this back. Oops, wind it back, and now I'll put a little cut on of, I don't know, 0.05 or something, and now I'll just wind this by hand, and it'll move it forward, and it's only cutting on the front of the thread. And now I will wind this back off, and I can wind this back. Okay, put it back to 0 on the readout, 0, and wind that again. wind it back off. Now I'm going to test this with a nut. It's just an M5 nut. Well, actually I can test it with the actual piece. So as expected, that's not going to go yet. So put that carefully back over there, lock that, give that a little nip, and now I'll wind this back. And wind it into 0. And then put on another cut. And away again. I may finish this off with a dye. Oh, that's pretty cool. Not quite. But now I know that that is square. What's the diameter of that? This is a 5mm. Yeah, 4.9. I'm keeping this engaged. I'll get my screw pitch gauge and check that again. I did check it. This is 0.8. Yeah. I'm fairly happy with that. Yep. Actually, I might just put a dye down that. I'll give it another into 0. Zero. And give it a little bit more. Okay, let's see. Now, let's just check that diameter again. Yeah, I think I will just put a dye down that because I'm a little unsure of what's going on. There we go. It should be really nice and square since I started that thread in the lathe, and it does look square. So now I've just got to drill this hole in the end. I've already centre drilled it. Didn't think it was interesting to show. So now I need to cut this about 14mm deep. I think I'm going to have to drill that deeper because I've got the tap I've got is a taper tap. So it's going to need a couple more mil to actually get the full depth, I'm guessing. Okay. Alright, let's see if the cap fits. Let's see what happens. Excellent, it seems to fit. Yeah, I'm going to need about another 3mm. I could shorten that, but I won't. So, out with this. In with the drill that I just put away. Okay. Out with the drill, in with the tap, or I might put the tap in by hand to avoid any nastiness with threading it wrongly. Alright, let's see. Alright, probably easy to just take this out. Or not. Yep. Alright. And the cap again. Now, last mil or two isn't threaded, isn't cut back. All right, let's see. I checked and the other one was done the same. It was undercut, just to give that last little bit. So let's just give this a burst. We'll see whether that was enough. Might have to put that tap back down there again. And there we are. That looks pretty good. Okay. Can't see it, but there you go. So let's put this together. That's all. I just screwed that together. So there's the underneath there's that circlip, and there's a pad to stop the rattle. I put the cap on, and that's all nice. So now that part here goes over that, and the spring has to go on. Spring, and that into there, and this goes through, and that screws into here. But there is a pin, that pin, so there's a pin there, so this goes through there, and that pin goes into the slot there. Get it started. Alright, that pin goes into there, and that just winds down. And that is all together. So that's all together. So now I need to put a bit of, I'm nearly out of my valve oil. Put valve oil on it. Pull out the trumpet. And in we go. Find it where it clicks. Tighten it up. And okay, this is a bit sticky. There we go. It's better. And oh, is it? I think it's the same height. Yeah, a different colour makes it look different. But right, let's get a rule. Ooh, yeah, that's within half a mil or less. So after, I don't know, 20 years or 25 years, I now have my valve working again, as it, well, back in correct. This is interesting. It's not entirely central, and I've got that tightened, but then again, looking down here, those ones aren't entirely perfectly centre either, but it's missing, and the valve is operating correctly. And there we go. It is feeling correct. Alright. So there we go. Done.